Alright, hello to all my guys, gals, and non-binary pals out there across the electrical ocean. This is Jazzman back with another game. This time we've got a dsmarket playing a split between Iron Fist and Shattered Peaks. And then we've got LLDRiot playing Full Faction Forsaken Waste. And this is going to be like sort of like the lower decks. If there are any Star Trek fans in the audience. I'm sure some of you have seen the lower decks. I've been getting a lot of high-ranked games lately, so I thought, I'll take a dip into the lower end of the queue bracket and just see what's up, what people have got going on down there. So we're gonna check this out. I know Hermeos and Elephant Gun are online now, but they're in a game. I think Bobmon is playing Hermeos, and it's like a fucking 80-minute game on Shores, Forsaken Waste versus Forsaken Waste, and I'm kind of glad I didn't get here in time to cast that match. So we're gonna check this out. So Dryad here he actually has his font contested by this. I'm assuming this is Morin's Corner from dsmarket. I don't know what champion is up here that got to place this, but whatever it is, it looks like it's also in that other side font. Let me just it's a Garen the Sharpfang. Interesting. So we've got Garen the Sharpfang up here with Shadow Spawn, sneakily dropping relics and getting in these fonts. And then over here, we've got Sonic Elemental contesting mid versus the Bird. And the Bird is the word, but the Bird cannot even hope of touching Sonic Elemental, simply because he cannot attack champions that are at full HP. So Dryad probably just going to sort of hang around with the Bird until Essence Devourer, Big Daddy Ed, gets down here and starts slapping some faces. And, there's Garen. So I guess there was a relic attempting to be dropped. Oh yeah, so no, he did a little scythe whirl on that skeleton. Now see, if I were dsmarket, I would probably just keep that Garen stealthed. I wouldn't even bother. I might end up hitting the graveyard just so that Essence Devourer gets a little frisky with Riot's other champions like this Rift Lord. But I probably wouldn't bother hitting the skeleton. I'd probably just stay stealthed and keep harassing that way for basically the rest of the match, because Dryad's detection is all the way down here, right? It looks like these Rift Spirits are making their way towards Market's fonts. Fortunately, they can't contest, although this Grave Warrior can. This one's a real champion. But it looks like Excavator here does a little bit of seism action on that relic, so Dryad will eventually get this font. Hopefully, as long as he'll eventually get one of them, as long as this Garen doesn't drop something else in here. But I think this Essence Devourer, this Devourer has some choices to make here. He could send him mid to try and control against that Sonic Elemental, but my preferred option here would be to send him back. And unfortunately, he walks into a rock trap. Well, that's a shame. So he walks into the rock trap, but I would say that Riot still made the right decision here, trying to secure his fonts from this Garen. Just because, you want, if you're playing a late game focused deck like Dryad is, you really don't want to fail against an early rush like this Garen is doing right now. You want to maintain control of your fonts. You want to make sure things go smoothly in the early game so that your champions better serve you in the late game. And he made a good choice here contesting with his Grave Warrior. I'm assuming this one's going to get eaten, though. Haven't been keeping track of Essence Devourer turns. Yep, there he goes. So unfortunately, he does get eaten and does not end up contesting that font. Bit sad for Riot there. Garen popping that graveyard. So now Riot kind of has to rely on Rift Lord to poop out meat for Essence Devourer to eat. As far as Sonic Elemental versus Bird goes, if I were Market, I would just fucking teleport into that Bird's face. There's nothing Death Harvester can do to you, right? And even if there was, you'd probably want to kill Death Harvester anyway, just because, it's basically the backbone of a Death Benefit deck. One of them anyway. It's got the Death Harvest, of course, its signature ability, and then Dead Eater for any globes. But, there's actually a vertical push onto that Essence Devourer, and that is not something you see every day. 55 Nora onto a 50-ish Nora Essence Devourer. Very much worth it for Dryad here. Even though, the Garen is still here in the font. There's a banner here contesting, so it's not like Garen wins this font by doing that. Actually, when your own fonts are getting rushed like this by the Rift Lord, and stuff that's already in there, you really don't want to be spending Nora on the away game, basically, on rushing yourself. You want to keep get your own house in order, basically, before you start criticizing others or invading others, or however that saying ends up going. But the skeletal excavator here will end up capturing this font again for Dryot, and Garen will kind of have to work to kill that banner, or hop into this font before Essence Devourer comes back and starts smashing him. It looks like Sonic Elemental finally deciding to engage, knocking Bird out of the font. It would be a shame if he put like a rock trap or something here, so that Bird couldn't really get back in. But of course, Bird does have detection, so Bird would see the trap. He just couldn't do anything about it. He'd have to stand there menacingly as the trap stares right back. And Market actually uses a Hammer Strike to keep the Rift Lord out of his font. I don't know about that. I would have preferred another deploy at this stage. As, I mean, your Flame Wisps are dying to these fucking Spirit Summons. It's not a good look for you when your real champions start dying to a 15 HP summon. So he's gonna have to deal with that. I mean, this summon could even conceivably drop a Relic in this font and contest it that way. So it's not like the Hammer Strike really did anything there. I mean, it did technically keep the Rift Lord out, but Riot still has the potential to contest, as Excavator secures topside for him. And that Essence Devourer is going to come back on Riot's following turn here, so he'll be able to make use of that. And Garen actually does have Flash Bomb upgraded, so he could actually stealth again. Now the thing that Riot has to look out for here is Garen, if he does Flash Bomb, he could potentially use it to get into these water spaces in the back. So it's not like Garen will Flash Bomb and he'll be easy to find after that. If he gets over here, I mean, he has 1 to 3 range. He could potentially keep, poking at you from a distance. So you might have to send Excavator through this water if you want to do a good enough job of finding him. And so over here, I mean, I think if I were Riot in this position, I might consider abandoning mid-font versus the Sonic Elemental. Because the thing is, Death Harvester will last in the font, but Death Harvester is so important to the kind of deck you're playing that it might be worth it giving up this font to keep it alive. And now it depends on whether or not you're running 2, of course. Like if you have the potential to drop a second one immediately, that's fine. If it had Immortality upgraded, that would be an even more appealing option. But as it is, I mean, if you want your late game engine to function, you kind of need Death Harvester in play when your stuff starts dying. So abandoning mid-font here, the fact that it's far enough away from these deployment zones means that any reinforcements coming from that font will take basically forever to get over to these fonts and start getting in your space. If I were Riot, I would be more worried about this Sonic Elemental potentially going up here to contest top than anything that's actually deployed up here. But an Earth Golem actually coming in for Market, and Earth Golem, seeing Earth Golem makes me so nostalgic for the old days of Pox. Earth Golem was like basically the OG super champ. He always had immunity physical. And way back in the day when physical was there were only 3 damage types in the game, immunity physical was such an ass pain to deal with. I'd always upgrade. This is back when you could upgrade stats, right? However much you wanted. And I would always give him 13 speed so that he could just, lumbering wasn't that big a downside. He could just run into a font and tank everything because of immunity and, resistance and everything. And he was still super cheap. He was 40 Nora because of how slow he was. And those were the days. But yeah, actually that immunity and the resistance is actually going to be kind of annoying to deal with for Riot, because he's immune to Essence Devourer, and Rift Lord only does half damage to him, so he might end up staying there for quite a while. The problem is Earth Golem is still a slow lumbering champion, 5-speed melee, right? So you could kite it out. I mean, the issue then becomes Essence Devourer is going to be hungry. He's going to have to start eating stuff, and if Rift Lord doesn't start pooping out more summons soon, your aggression might end up failing because of the Essence Devourer eating stuff like Rift Lord and the Bird. So we got to get some stuff down to deal with that. And as far as topside goes, topside's looking not too bad here for Riot. He's got the Necromancer support, he's got, you know, the Cloak of Skulls here against the Garen to potentially spawn some more meat. And was that a Desecration? Who took that Desecration down there? Use it to damage the Relic? Nope. What did he I missed it. What did he use Desecration on? Sonic Elemental takes 2 disease damage. He used Desecration to damage the Sonic Elemental, and so that bird could start attacking it. I don't agree with that at all. I think, again, I probably would have just ran away with the bird and let him have mid here. Because even if the bird can attack, you can't really win that 1v1 with bird on half HP like he was. And if worse comes to worse, Sonic Elemental can outmaneuver the bird with Teleport 2 anyway, so damaging it didn't really do you any favors there. Kind of just a wasted Nora. I probably would have used Desecration down here to try and take out this Nora mine. Just because, I mean, Essence Devourer doesn't really have anything to hit right now. Like, you can't hit Earth Golem. And taking out that Nora mine will definitely help slow Market's advance. And prevent him from deploying as much as he otherwise could. But we've got the Rift Lord contesting this font now, so it's basically all the fonts being contested on this map. I've always liked how this map sort of encourages these kinds of situations where a lot of fonts are being contested at all times, and you can really do a lot of crazy stuff like rush from here to here with one of your, like with your second deploy if you get something fast enough, or you could abandon mid because it's so far out of the way that giving up that 12 Nora doesn't mean as much because your opponent doesn't gain really any positional advantage from it. And then you can have kind of like a stalemate range versus range battle here, or you can maybe rush into these fonts. I'd say out of all the maps in the queue right now, this is probably the most balanced one in terms of gameplay. Sometimes you can get into a real stalemate when, you know, no one wants to engage, but other than that, it's pretty good. And Market actually transfigures here just so he can get more reinforcements into this fight. I mean, I don't hate it. Like, I'm not sure of his Nora situation, but it can't be very good when both of your fonts are contested, right? He will be winning mid eventually, but getting the Avatar in the fight is probably a pretty big boon for him right now, just because the Avatar is such a strong combat champion. So we're going to see actually an Impervious onto Garen, who doesn't even care about that Cloak of Skulls. He's still going to town on that Skeletal Excavator, spawning a bunch of meat. I think if Riot can just hold off, he's still in this game, right? This aggression is sort of petering out now, but I think he can still come back. He's playing Death Benefit. He's got the Forsaken Waste bonus. This Garen won't be living for very much longer after that Impervious wears off. So if he can just get his fonts back, I mean, he's good. He can drop like an Unholy Tomb, get some Nora rolling. Now would probably be a good time for Unholy Tomb, just because, I mean, you're already at you built up enough forces over here that you can kind of afford the tempo hit. There's really not much more you can do to defend your top fonts, deploy-wise, versus that Garen. You know, the one thing I would have liked to see is maybe saving that Desecration as pseudo-detection for when Garen flash bombs eventually, so that you don't have to waste, you know, a lot of AP walking around these fonts searching for him. But as it is, Garen's just going to do a Scythe Whirl, finish off that skeleton in the back, and damage everybody else. But other than that, I mean, Excavator can get off a good hit. If Garen sticks with 5 AP, he can get off a nice Punishing Aura as well. But I think Commanding Charge here might be the play, because he can Command Charge to the Excavator, give it Charge 3, that's 10 damage, plus another 7, that's 17. It'll be really close. Command Charge plus Drive. Actually, he can do it with Command Charge plus Drive, can't he? Yeah, because that'll be 4 extra damage total. So that would be enough to finish off that Garen, even if Punishing Aura doesn't come into play. But Sonic Elemental with its pitiful 6 damage, actually taking quite a while to finish off that bird. And Essence Devourer, realizing he's met his match in the Earth Golem, decides to abandon that bottom font. Again, I probably would have just finished off the mine. Like, you know, even if you can't hit the Earth Golem, like, you can still kind of walk around it and hit that Nora mine with your 1 to 2 range, just to keep the contest game going for a while. again, like winning mid here on this map, you're gonna lose mid anyway. It's not really worth it to put all of your focus into mid. Just taking out that Nora mine and keeping this contest rolling over here to keep Market down on Nora would be the better option. But Rift Lord gonna sit here for a while with that Oblivion Shield, although with the Avatar kind of blocking it off, it's not really gonna be able to escape. Probably just gonna bide its time and get as much Nora taken from Market as possible before going down. And funny enough, actually, the Flame Wisp can use the Rift Lord's own Dead Magic Zone AoE as basically habitation for Riftbound, so that it doesn't lose max HP. If it wants to. I mean, it's backing up in the wrong way, in the wrong direction to do that, but it could if it needed to. And Market actually puts down a second Nora mine up top. Unfortunately for Riot, he kind of forgot about Slothful here on the Excavator. So he used Block, which triggered Slothful, meaning that Excavator couldn't use its AP to walk around and look for Garen. So a little bit of a misstep there from him, but Necromancer decides to summon a Skeleton, helping to keep the numbers rolling. So Necromancer plus that Skeleton, plus he'll actually need another hit from Excavator if he wants to take out that mine. But double Nora mine is interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Market was actually an older player, because running Nora mine, Earth Golem, and Sonic Elemental just kind of leads me to believe that Market is maybe a player from ye old glory days, recently returned. Because it's not really the kind of thing you'd expect from. I don't really see more like experienced or veteran players running stuff like Nora mine and Earth Golem anymore. They're just better options these days. But the Spirits here, doing as much damage to Earth Golem as possible. I don't know, I'd probably just hit the Avatar. Immobilization. Unfortunately, Rebuke massacring those 3 Spirits up there. So he'll lose all the damage from them. I don't really see the point of that mobilization. Actually, he can't get a Berserk attack because of Deafening Aura, but he can get one hit onto that Sonic Elemental. If he could have gotten the Berserk attack here, yeah, and Essence Devourer eats the bird. So here, I mean, Sonic Elemental on 1 HP, he can just teleport away, right? He can teleport into that water over there and force Essence Devourer to spend more AP than he wants to try and catch up. But a Desperate Heal, desperation indeed, healing up everyone. It's a little bit unfortunate here for Riot, because not because of the situation down bottom, just because of the situation up top. I mean, Garen was on, I think, 21 HP, and now he's 15 HP higher. So it's going to be a little bit longer before Riot manages to regain his top font, or both of his top fonts, I should say. But yeah, that Moby was a little bit ill-advised. He lost a lot of his pressure down bot. He didn't really lose bot side, but it didn't really gain him anything bot side either. I guess he was expecting to do like a Berserk attack, but he forgot about Deafening Aura on the Sonic Elemental. It happens, it happens. Then up top, he does have that Nora mine down to 5, so Excavator could maybe finish it. I'd probably finish it with the Necromancer, and then like use Excavator's full AP to search for Garen, who's still sitting in this font. And then, wow, an Impervious on the Sonic Elemental? That was really unnecessary. He really wants that bottom font. I think, like, if I were Market here, I would just leave that fucking Essence Devourer alive. Because, I mean, if you're Riot in this position, like, that Essence Devourer is definitely more of a bane than a boon for you. Because it's gonna start eating these other champions next. And, like, if these champions all die, or, start getting eaten, you're not going to be able to regain your top fonts in time before Market makes his way up here. So, I don't know. I'd probably just teleport away with the Sonic Elemental. And let that Essence Devourer do your work for you, basically. But a bit of a lucky find here from Riot. Manages to get that Garen in one go. Doing a bit of damage with the summon, and then the Excavator as well, bringing him down to 13. Now here, if I were Riot, I would absolutely kill it with a... well, actually, I was going to say I'd kill it with a spell, but then I realized Immobile from Slothful. If you could have killed it with a spell and gotten in the font, like a Soulbane or something, that would have been perfect, because he would have gotten both of his fonts at once, would have gotten the Norglobe from Garen, prevented any further annoyance like healing or whatever. And then, you know, he could have been in a fine position, because then it would have been basically 3 fonts to 2, except Market is Transfigured, reducing his Nor gain. So, my favorite champion, Broken Bones, coming into play. Now I gotta give you a little bit of flack here, Riot, for mistaking the upgrades. Oh, okay, well, I was gonna give you a flack for the upgrades, but you surrendered before I could, so you win this round. But you don't win the game, unfortunately. So, well played to both, and we'll see you in the next one.